We got to air it out. Let's air it out. So we got to air it out. Let's air it out. So
how you say that? Air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Air It Out podcast. Did y'all see the poetry there? Did y'all see the poetry? You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Air It Out podcast. You know, the inflection on the voice. Listen, we're about to have a great show. I mean, it's been a pretty interesting day when it comes to NFL news. I can't wait to get started. But before we do so, got to introduce ourselves. My name is Avery Collins. I am joined on a panel full of very, very astute and studious individuals. To my right, your left, I've got Coach Braxton. Say what up to the people.
What's going on, people? What's going on? Baltimore won this past week. Just putting that out there for the haters out there in the world. But we back at it again. Yeah, definitely come through with the vocals, though, Avery. Definitely.
Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Unlike some other haters in the chat already, that would be our CEO, Jerome Jones. Say, shout out to Jerome, our CEO, doing his thing behind the scenes. Before I introduce the other guys, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do what I'm doing. I want you to go on. I want you to like this video, and I want you to share it everywhere. Do it right now, ladies and gentlemen, because you know it's only right. It's only right. Listen, I need the next panelist to introduce themselves, and this person, we're gonna talk about it when we get to that subject. Juan, the one and only. Please say what up to the folks.
Guys, as a football fan, I love the sport in general because any given day of the week, any given Sunday, stuff can happen. And but last Thursday when I picked the Jets to win against the Colts, I was probably on something because that was a terrible pick. And the Jets got me feeling like the new Silk Sonic song that came out. They got me smoking out the window.
I like it. Speaking of which, don't forget to get that album, ladies and gentlemen. I think it did it drop, or it drops tomorrow or something like that.
I think next week.
Wait.
It's about to be crazy. Listen,
every day just playing it.
And let's say welcome back to the man beneath me, but not below me, Mr. Darius Riddick. What up?
Yo, what's going on? Hashtag, I want to say something because I missed. Hashtag 450.
Yikes.
Really?
Oh,
really?
My God.
Come on, bro.
I stand behind it.
Come on, bro. You gotta stop with the Lamar truths, man. But nah, it's happy to be back. We got some good football games this week, especially tonight. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to watching them, man. And I'm gonna say this one time and one time only: 5-4. 5-4.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on. Listen.
That's all I'm saying.
Like I said, we have a jam-packed show. It's about to be crazy. If you have not heard all the news that is going on in the NFL today, some big major breaking news, and that is actually going to lead us into our first topic today. Our first topic, Cam Newton is back home. Cam Newton is back home. He has been picked up by the Carolina Panthers. He is signed on a one-year deal for the remainder of this year at, I believe, $10 million, with $4 million of it fully guaranteed for the remainder of this year. Listen, I've got my thoughts on this, but I want to hear you guys first. What do you guys think about Cam coming home? And I'm going to start with the guy whose team completely disrespected him by releasing him in the first place. Darius, talk to me. How do you feel about, and this is coming off a win against said team, how do you feel about this move?
I mean, I'm kind of like in the middle. The reason why is because how the relationship ended with Carolina and Cam Newton, right? Like that relationship ended kind of strange. They left Cam off the all-time Panther list when this guy brung them to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they lost. He went 15-1. He won MVP. He made the Carolina Panthers relevant. And I felt like the moment they let him go, they kind of was like, all right, we don't want nothing to do with you. Now, obviously, Sam Darnold's hurt. They don't really believe in PJ Walker, who I think obviously should have gotten the chance to show what he can do because of what he was doing in the XFL and a little bit in the preseason last season. So I think they should have given him opportunity. But as far as for Cam, I'm happy for him. He's back home where it all started. The guy can still play. I think it was just more of a system thing with the Patriots. They really weren't used to it through that quarterback. They were used to a pocket passer quarterback like Tom Brady for 20 years, like Mac Jones is now. So you bring Cam Newton back. You got Christian McCaffrey who came back. So Carolina Panthers are kind of in the win now mode in a sense, and you really don't know what you're going to get with Sam Darnold, right? Like you did all that, you traded all those picks to bring Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold, the first few weeks we were kind of high on him, right? Like I know I was like, okay, Sam Darnold has proven that he can be a good quarterback in a new system. He beat his former team, and he was playing pretty well, and he led the league in rushing touchdowns after 3 weeks. So he was playing pretty decent, but then the injuries and things like that started to come in and trickle down on him. And now you're starting to see the Sam Darnold that the Jets had and the reason why they traded him. But for Cam, I'm happy for him. I hope he can go out there and perform well, especially how things ended in Carolina, how things ended in New England. Now he's back in Carolina. And he has a chip on his shoulder. He has a chip on his shoulder because a lot of people said, hey, they said he's washed. He's not the same Cam Newton he was. The 2015 MVP. He's not that Cam Newton. So now you're back in the system that suits you best, right? And you have some weapons. So go out there, make it work, make it last, set yourself up for the next season if you're gonna be the Carolina's franchise quarterback again or go somewhere else. So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Avery, you're muted.
Oh, why didn't y'all tell me I was muted? You know what I'm saying?
I thought I was having issues.
Y'all could have just told me I was muted. But anyway, no, it's definitely very interesting to see him back in Carolina for the reasons that you pointed out. It didn't end extremely well. So it's definitely interesting to see him back. Again, when you deal for the remainder of this year, we'll see how it plays out in the future. Juan, talk to me about what you thought about initially when you heard the news.
Well, before I do, just some slight breaking news today. Tua Tagovailoa out for tonight. Jacoby Brissett gets the start against the Baltimore Ravens tonight. Anyway, so the first note I wrote when I was compiling my notes on the Cam Newton signing was, well. And then the next note I wrote was in reference to Avengers Endgame. You could not live with your failure. Where did that lead you? Back to me.
The greatest quote ever.
It is, honestly, and it could not explain the situation any better right now. Look, I get when the Panthers moved on from Cam Newton back in 2019, it was understandable why the move was relevant. Cam's shoulder had been shot the hell and back. He was out for the rest of the year due to that shoulder injury. Not to mention he went 0-2 in 2019. And I don't think Teddy Bridgewater was exactly the replacement, and Sam Darnold was the hopeful going into 2021, but it just has not worked out. And despite putting up decent numbers when he was in New England, I mean, as a passer, he had 2,600 passing yards, 8 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, but as a runner, nearly 600 rushing yards, and 12 touchdowns on the ground by himself as a rusher. Cam is still an effective weapon and an effective quarterback, a running quarterback, that is. With that being said, he's coming back to a different Carolina that he once knew. All right, Matt Rule, his system is much more predicated on the play-action pass, which is what Sam Darnold sort of thrived in at the start of the season, and a heavy reliance on the running game, particularly with Christian McCaffrey. It's a good situation for Cam to walk into. However, in terms of being a passer, I'm not 100% confident in what Cam is going to be able to accomplish through the air. Right? We don't know just how good that shoulder has recovered since last year because he was primarily used as a rusher up in New England. So good news for Christian McCaffrey. It's going to be a lot of read option with Cam. It's going to be a lot of toss plays and short dunk downs because that is what Cam is used to and what he likes to do in an offense. Bad news for guys like Robbie Anderson. Bad news for guys like
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, thank you. I don't think there's going to be as much of an emphasis on downfield passing as everyone thinks there's going to be. All right. It all depends on what Cam's shoulder is going to look like once he puts back on that black and blue number 1 and gets out there.
It'll definitely be interesting. I'm not sure if I fully agree with the offense not suiting him. It actually suits him very well. Cam is a play action quarterback because they like to run the football and because he's such a threat running the football. I mean, and then obviously getting Christian McCaffrey back, that's going to be a boost in the run game as well. So that alone helps him play action. And then you got Robbie Anderson running down the field and DJ Moore. I mean, these are two receivers that Cam, I don't think in his entire career has ever had caliber of those type of receivers on the field at the same time. He had an older Steve Smith, and then from there, Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess. I mean, come on, so it'll be definitely interesting to see. What we going to say?
I will say I love the contract that he got. He's finally getting paid, y'all. 1 year, $10 million on the spot. I mean, when he was with New England, what was it? Like a $5 million, a $4 million deal.
It's like four and some change.
This man is getting his paycheck back, and you love to see it. You love to see a man get paid, even though it's just on a 1 year proven deal.
That's a fact. He's been at home since August. I'm sure that shoulder is fine. I believe so too. I don't think that the shoulder was an issue to begin with going into this season. I think bad news for DBs on the opposing team since Sam Darnold not surfing the that's a little Apple turnovers is brilliant. Can we just talk about that? But yes.
To all y'all who kept giving me crap about the whole Sam Darnold leaving New York to the Panthers. He's still your king? He's still your guy?
I mean, y'all don't even know who your guy is. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and move to Darren. What are your thoughts on Cam Newton back in Carolina Blue?
So we're going to start off with this one real simple. Juan, you were wrong for basically all the Cam Newtons that Avery said it. And if he didn't say it first, I definitely was just waiting. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let him live for this until I have to speak because, good God, Cam Newton, the shoulder.
Sorry, I apologize.
Listen, personally, I've seen Cam Newton this preseason. Cam Newton looked healthy. Cam Newton looked good. I was very surprised for him to be released. But
Chris, Chris.
We're not going to do that, Chris. We're just not.
I love Jet slander. I love it.
Let it be. But Cam Newton, he looked, Chris, great with the check.
Oh no!
And the fact of the matter is having Christian McCaffrey and a guy like Chuba Hubbard in the backfield with him. Excellent backs that can receive, run. They can do a little bit of everything. And then taking Cam Newton's running ability, the way that Matt Rule and that offense with Joe Brady is going to work, magnificent in the run game.
Yeah.
And this is my thing. He has not had any passes of the likes of DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, period. The best he's had is a Greg Olsen in his prime, along with Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, Steve Smith past 35. Come on, man. Listen, the passing game will be there. I don't think it's going to start off well at first, as they will need to build a little bit of chemistry. DJ Moore, he might have a little more with because he did get to play a little bit of time with him. But I do think that passing game will develop and will be very strong. And just to put it out there, his best year as a passer was under North Turner, who specializes in run play action game. where he completed 66% of his passes during that time through the first 6 weeks of the year before the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Telling you, man.
I think. Listen, I love
back,
Cam Newton back in Carolina. I don't think he ever should have left. I think they did him dirty. They did him wrong, and they basically said, "We don't believe in you," like Darius said. So I didn't like it initially. I still don't like it, but I like that he's back. I can't wait. I think Cam still has some juice left in the tank. I'm not foreseeing 2015 MVP Cam Newton on the field, but I do believe that he's better than probably half of starting quarterbacks in the NFL at this current time. With that being said, shouts out to PJ Washington. Sorry, that's the Heat fan of me coming out. But yeah, shout out to PJ Washington. He played extremely well in that stint when he came in to PJ. Thank you, Walker. So shout out to him. He played extremely well in this stint. And shout out to your pup back there. That's a grown man. But with that being thank you, Jerome.
XFL fame, man. Come on.
Darren right what he said a while back, Sam Darnold is going to be the next Josh Rosen. It's a possibility. However, Josh Rosen actually didn't get the chances that Sam Darnold's got. So I don't know. But with that being said, shout out to PJ because I believe that he could have steadied the tide. So I know that it's going to be a hurt. It's going to be tough for him to potentially go back to the bench and different things like that. But and I'll say this is the last thing. I wonder how good is Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator if you couldn't get the best out of Cam Newton. If your offense is better with Mac Jones, I mean. I'm asking because Cam said he was like, you can open this playbook up now. Like you can do whatever you want. I can do all of that stuff, and I can move. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be very, very interesting to see. But it's time to talk about maybe even potentially even bigger news. I mean, I don't know. I think it's bigger news. But the man, the myth, the legend. Me too, Deontay. I was looking forward to PJ Walker getting a shot. But the man, the myth, the legend, OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. is now on the Los Angeles Rams. What? I don't think you guys heard me, so I'll repeat it. Odell Beckham Jr. is now with the Los Angeles Rams. In the less than 2 weeks, the Rams have added Von Miller to a defense that already had Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, and now add Odell Beckham Jr. to an offense that already has Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Matthew Stafford. Listen, I mean, you could say that, but it'll definitely be interesting. What you talking about, Deontay? What you talking about? Listen, I think I'm gonna give you what I think later, but Juan, what does this even mean? What is happening?
I think it's fair to say none of us expected the Rams to be in contention for this, to be honest.
I was.
You did. But, the Rams didn't scream to me as a wide receiver needy team.
Hey, mama.
Like a wide receiver needy team right now, particularly because they already have one of the top receiving cores in the league right now with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, playing in the NFL. Field Yates even said prior to the OBJ signing, the Rams officially had $2.3 million in cap space. Because of the money OBJ will collect from Cleveland, which is $4.25 million, the Rams will offer Beckham a smaller salary and a chance to win in LA. It's just so. I don't like the move. I'll say it right now. I don't like the move.
I agree with Juan.
There's too many mouths to feed in Los Angeles as it is, and adding OBJ into the mix, who was a star wide receiver one, has the potential to be a wide receiver one. What is the role that he's going to play? downfield wide receiver, down the middle, in the slot. Like, where does he fit in this system? Not to mention that I'm not confident that OBJ is going to get the targets that I feel like he anticipates going into it. Not to mention, I feel like he would have been a much better fit with the New Orleans Saints. All right, because first off, it's home. It's where it's home. I don't know how else to answer that. It's home. Second, they are devoid of a true weapon at wide receiver outside of potentially Marcus Callaway down there. And with Michael Thomas being out, it could have been a great chance for OBJ to put up the numbers and possibly make a playoff run, because the Saints are still looking pretty good this year, despite what the product has looked on the field. And finally, the Rams don't need another wide receiver. They need an offensive lineman right now. Did you see the protection that they had against what was supposedly the weakest pass rush in the NFL in the Tennessee Titans? All right. I think this is a luxury pick. I don't think you needed it. The Rams are already a Super Bowl contender without Odell. I don't know if this makes them any more of a contender than they already were.
It'll definitely be interesting to see. I can't wait to see what happens on the field. Darius, what are your thoughts? I mean, you said you agree with Juan, so elaborate.
I agree with Juan. First and foremost, the NFC, no matter what we say, the NFC runs through Tampa Bay. If you want to get to the Super Bowl, you're gonna have to play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, when they start to get healthy defensively, they're probably the best team in the NFL. So that's number one. Number two, the Rams did not need Odell Beckham Jr. He should, I agree with Juan, go to the Saints. Go to a team that needs a number one receiver. Go to a team where you know that you're going to make a huge difference, because the Saints don't have they don't have a true number one wide receiver. Now, we get the whole targets and, the media and all that. That's cool. But the Rams have Cooper Kupp, who's arguably probably in the conversation for MVP and the best wide receiver that we have today in the NFL. He's most likely always in the slot or, on the outside, but mostly in the slot. You got Robert Woods. You got Tyler Higbee. They have too many weapons now. And if you're going to really bring somebody in, bring in a running back, right? Be able to run the ball, because the Sony Michel project isn't really working out. Juan said it. Get an offensive lineman. Work more on your defense. Get another corner. You didn't need Odell. You definitely didn't need Odell. The offense is already a top 3 or the number 1 offense in the NFL without Odell. So now you bring him in the system. Now you bring him as number 2. I'm sorry. So you're number 2. You're number 2. And who's number 1? Dallas, I believe.
No, I believe Arizona is number 1.
Arizona is number 1. You're number 2. You didn't need another wide receiver. Get an offensive lineman. Protect your quarterback.
No, they're 5. They're 5 because they'd be second in the division.
Okay, so they're 5. But you didn't need Odell. You could have definitely went in a different direction. I love the Von Miller signing. I definitely think they need another pass rusher, someone that can help take the pressure a little bit off of Aaron Donald, because he's always going to double team. You're not going to double team Aaron Donald and Von Miller, because now I think they still have Leonard Floyd on the other side, right? You still got him. You still got, obviously, Jalen Ramsey if he decides he wants to blitz and they do packages like that. So I definitely think that the Rams could have went in a different direction. Is Odell going to make a huge impact? I don't really think so, because the Rams' offense isn't bad. I can understand if the Rams were struggling to move the ball, they didn't have a number 1 wide receiver, they had guys dropping passes and injuries, then you can make that statement. But their receivers are good. Cooper Kupp leading literally in all stats, he's leading, right? Robert Woods, same thing. I think he's top 10 or top 5 and top 15. Tyler Higbee, arguably a very underrated tight end, right? And then Matthew Stafford, he's slinging the ball pretty well. So I think you protect your quarterback, or you continue to build your defense. You don't add, to me, an already crowded wide receiver room with Jefferson up and coming.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see what's going to happen. Darren, you've been shaking your head. You've been kind of
He wanted him in Baltimore.
I don't know about all of this.
Darren, talk to me Odell didn't go to Baltimore.
So I'll be very honest. First, let's clear this up. I actually didn't want Odell to Baltimore. I felt like the weapons that we have here are all young enough to grow with Lamar. So I'm actually cool with it. I was really hoping he didn't, especially with our younger guy, that our first round pick, Rashad Bateman, he's starting to come on lately after his injury. Marquise Brown is showing he wants to be a number 1, number 2 receiver in the league. Still got Mark Andrews. Devin Duvernay with the catch. Can we talk about that catch for a quick second?
No, we can't.
Oh
no, we can't.
This isn't Ravens recap. We move on.
But I actually love the signing. And it's honestly for almost all of the reasons you guys hate it. First, putting Odell Beckham on an offense like the Rams with so many weapons to feed. Who won the Super Bowl last year, people? The Buccaneers. How many weapons do the Buccaneers have?
It was their defense.
And Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Leonard Fournette. Like, the list goes on.
It was their defense.
But we're talking defense. Did the Rams just not get Von Miller along with having already Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey on that back end for the defense? What we were talking about, the loaded pass rush of the Tampa Bay Bucks with great coverage in the back end, with the Rams safeties playing pretty well, along with Darius Williams, who's still a solid number 2 corner in this league. So if we're talking about why he's a great fit, we see what happened last year when you have all the weapons on offense and on defense. They sold so many first-round picks. This is their window. They've extended their window for 3 years now, since 2018. The Rams want the Super Bowl more than anything else, and Odell took less money because that's what he wants as well. A Super Bowl.
It'll definitely be
that team will be set.
It'll be interesting to see. Darius, you and then Juan.
Marquise Brown's a number 1 wide receiver?
Listen.
What are you
I didn't say he is. I said he's
Mark
showing
Andrews is your number 1 receiver, bro.
You
said
said
he's
number
showing
1 or number
he wants
2.
to be. Hear it right, people. Hear it right.
You said number 1 or number 2.
Hey,
All
listen,
right.
he said
he just said number 2.
1 or 2.
I
Don't be mad at me.
Look, I'm gonna end the discussion now.
Hey, we 5-4. We 5-4.
Yeah.
We above 5.
6-2. So
Yeah.
what we talking
Look, I'll end it with this. I have this tweet from this YouTuber I follow very closely. It goes, "Ring chasing has come to the NFL, and I'm quite conflicted about it. Maybe it works out for Odell. It did for Antonio Brown."
So, it's
Antonio
definitely
Brown
interesting.
Again.
Listen, it's definitely interesting to see. I mean, at this point, you can't say that. I personally don't think in the NFL, ring chasing is as bad. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's extremely difficult. With that being said, Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, Odell Beckham Jr. I love the move. I love it. Here's the thing that people keep saying. One, I'm going to agree with Darren. There's no such thing as too many mouths to feed. That's a good problem to have. If it's a problem, it's a good problem to have, right? Having too many weapons is a good problem to have. Everybody said the same thing about the Bucs, and the Bucs won. Granted, yes,
they had Tom Brady and their defense.
Granted, their defense played well, but are we saying that the Rams don't have a great defense? What are we talking about? Now, couple that with who was their deep threat? Don't worry, I'll wait. Exactly. Odell immediately becomes the deep threat on that team. He's the guy who can run past anybody on the field. He's the guy who can take that slant and go 50 yards to the crib.
You had a deep threat on Deshaun Jackson, and you let him go.
Deshaun Jackson is 3,800 years old, and he's lost a step. I'm not saying that he's slow. I said he's lost a step. And we already know what Deshaun Jackson is going to be on the field to do, run by me. With Odell, you think he's going to run by you, and then he stops and hits you with a comeback, and your feet are in the end zone when his are on the 40, and you're like, what happened to me? That's how good he is. Prime started the ring chasing stuff in the 90s. Tom did the Super Bowl thing last season when he went to the Bucs. Exactly. Now, in addition, here's another thing that I've realized. Everybody keeps talking about this whole, and I agree with Deontay. They keep talking about how he's talking about
don't hate the man.
The targets and stuff. Odell, when did you ever hear when did you ever hear Odell ever say, hey, I want more targets? Never. You didn't hear it because it's not true. Also, I would like to point out all these analysts talking about how washed Odell was. What's wrong with Odell? Is Odell the guy? Is he what he used to be? And now they're all raving. Oh, the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, the Rams this. Oh, the Rams that. Oh, the Rams. Oh my goodness, this and that. Right? Again, Deshaun is not bad. Again, I'm not saying Deshaun is slow. I didn't say that. I said you know what you're getting from Deshaun. Now, with that being said, like I said, Odell, he can start off running a fade, break it off at 20 yards, and you're still running. That's how good he is. I'm not saying Deshaun can't do that, but he ain't doing it as good as Odell. Now, with that being said, like I said, all of these analysts talking about how Odell is he washed? Has he lost a step? Is this, and that, right? And now they're talking about the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I personally think they just didn't want to say Baker's not it. Like if we just call it what it is, they just didn't want to say Baker. He don't got the juice that everybody thinks he has. Okay, and I'm not saying Baker's trash. I'll never say he's trash. The guy has talent, and everybody can see that, right? You can see that the guy has talent. But now because Odell's on the Rams, you're saying that, oh yeah, blah blah blah, because you understand he's still that guy. It's just Baker wasn't that guy for him. Now, Matthew Stafford, he can throw the ball anywhere. He can do whatever he wants with the ball. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. I hope they stay healthy because it's going to be fun. Darren, last words on this, and we're moving on.
Real quick, two things. Odell, like you said, can take a 2-yard slant for 50 yards. He don't need a bunch of targets. Just give him the ball. And with the weapons they have, who are you really going to sit there in single coverage now? Because you can place all of them inside or outside.
That's it. And here's the thing, and I'll end it with this. When you're talking about the targets and everything like that, Odell has never talked about targets. However, what he has said was this, singularly, when we're losing, that's when it upsets me when I'm not getting the ball because I know that I can help. Simple as that. All he means by that is saying, listen, when we're losing, it's frustrating because I don't like to lose. If we're winning, I don't got to touch the ball. I don't really care. Like if I touch the ball, cool. But as long as we get the win, that's what he's worried about. But when he loses and he realizes that I'm not getting the ball and he knows he's a game changer, he affects the game in ways that a lot of other receivers cannot do. I'm just saying, I would be upset too. I personally would be upset too because that's how I felt sometimes when I was playing. But anyway, long story short, we're going to move into our last topic. We were actually going to talk about like who do we think is like the current MVPs and stuff like that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go and talk about who do we think is the best team, okay? And I have a team that I'm questioning. Are they the best team? Because they lost without question, their best player. They lost their best player for potentially the rest of the season. The Tennessee Titans lost Derrick Henry. He is no longer on the team, right? Okay. They won convincingly against this Rams team that we were just talking about. Are they the best team in the NFL right now, or at least in the AFC? Are they the best team? I mean, they lose Derrick Henry, bring in Adrian Peterson. He gets a touchdown, and he's 706 years old. This is crazy to me. I was surprised. Darren, can the Titans sustain this success?
Yes. Very simple answer, yes. And the reason being, the Titans are not just one way anymore. If this was last year, 2 years ago, I would definitely say no, there's no way they could contain this success because they ran through Derrick Henry and that was it. But the development of A.J. Brown, the added addition of Julio Jones, opens up that offense, especially with Tannehill being able to be who he was last year. And we've seen him continue to do that. A good quarterback that will manage the game, give you some big plays, has the ability to use his legs, and knows how to spread the ball around. Yes, he still needs to use Julio a little bit more because he has been to Julio. But with Henry out, that chemistry will definitely be able to build there now because we see what A.J. Brown has been able to do with more single coverage. He's been dominant more now. He has, especially over the last 2 weeks. A.J. Brown is one of the top 5 receivers in the last 2 weeks when it comes to yards and touchdowns. It's nice. But on the other hand, Adrian Peterson still got it. I don't know how he does it, but the A100 is still there. He can sustain just enough of a running game to keep that play action game going for them.
All
and the
day.
way that defense is playing, that defense will be able to do damage. Did we not see Jeffrey Simmons become a complete animal? But did we forget he's a first-round pick? He had 3 sacks in the first half, people. 3 sacks in the first half, right up the middle. If they continue to play that way, along with that back-end plan as they are, with Kevin Byard leading them off, Titans can definitely sustain the success. Definitely.
It'll be interesting to see if they can sustain it. I mean, it's definitely interesting. And I was shocked as to how they really dismantled the Rams. That was shocking. I think we all took the L there when it comes to our game picks last week. Juan, what are your thoughts, man? Are the Titans the best team in the AFC right now?
First off, quick hot take about the Rams. I think Derrick Henry is going to come back near the end of the season and rush for enough yards that he needs to get that 1,000-yard season because he's so close. He's 937 yards right now on the season. I think he can come back and get I think 60. I am for the record book's sake, and also because he's on my fantasy team. Anyway, looking at the tape and looking at the numbers, and I really did a hardcore in-depth research into like the top 4 teams in the AFC right now. It's all interchangeable, in my opinion, in the sense that every team has their strengths and their weaknesses. But are the weaknesses as glaring for the Titans as every other team? Let's look at it. For the Ravens right now, Lamar Jackson. First off, Lamar Jackson's your 2021 MVP. Do not get it twisted. All right. The man is literally everything that embodies the Ravens' spirit, offense, and team as a whole. Okay? Because he's basically 2018 Russell Wilson in that he has to do everything for the Ravens to get stuff going. All right? Not to mention, the defense has just been abysmal, allowing 24 points per game, 374 total yards per game. That's 23rd in the league overall. And your premier defensive back in Marlon Humphrey, allowing 17 yards per completion and 5 touchdowns so far this season. So that's one part. The Chargers coming in, similar situation, but not as reliant on Justin Herbert as the Ravens are with Lamar Jackson. Herbert's been great, not stellar, 18-6. Austin Eckler has been looking decent, but not as much as the premier back that we all hoped he'd be. The defense, again, just abysmal, at least rushing-wise. They're a top 3 passing defense, only allowing 197 yards per game. And Derwin James is the truth. He has been the truth, and we now know that those injuries meant nothing because he has not lost a freaking step. And then looking at the Bills, I can't make heads or tails on this team because they're so hot and cold in games. Like they start off so slow and then they'll pick up steam, and they'll start off slow and just never come back from it. AKA the Jaguar game. So like those 3 teams I just mentioned, they're so hot and cold and so hard to figure out. At least the Bills are. The Chargers are just a great offense with a very piss poor defense, and the Ravens have no threat outside of Lamar Jackson to succeed. All right, Lamar Jackson goes down, as do the Ravens. However, with the Titans, it's next man up. It's the next man up mentality, no matter what. All right, I'm looking at this roster. I will give Ryan Tannehill he's due. He's been a really good quarterback this year. 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Not that good, but he's a great game manager. He's been getting the ball into the hands of his playmakers. Derrick Henry may be out, but he is still. But Ryan Tannehill is spreading the ball out well enough to make up for the production. Not to mention AJ Brown slowly picking up his production after being out for 2 games. Julio Jones being a great number 2 complement in the passing game, and this defense is just astounding. Kevin Byard with 5 picks on the year. I remember last year we were talking about the Titans being one of the worst defenses in the NFL because they lacked pass rush and that secondary Swiss cheese. Now, complete turnaround, complete 180. So honestly, to make a long story short, I think the Titans are barely the number 1 team in the AFC, but a week can make a difference, and I believe that after this week, Ravens will take that spot.
All right. I mean, listen, there's a lot of good points there. Darius, anything you disagree with, anything you want to add there? What's up with the Titans? I mean, again, they seem to be, like Juan said, a team that's like, hey, next man up. Let's continue to keep this train rolling.
One thing about records and teams when you say is, can this team sustain success? And you look at a team's record, right? Prime example, Pittsburgh Steelers last year, 11-0. You asked, who did the Steelers play? Then you see in the later half of the season, the Steelers started to play some stiff competition, started losing games. You asked the question, who did the Titans play? And the 2 games that I circled that is going to back up them being the best team in the AFC and possibly in the NFL, they almost shut out the Kansas City Chiefs. They held them to 3 points. That's very hard to do, especially against Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. And then your star running back, the MVP, the guy who was supposed to win MVP this year if he was continuing to do what he was doing, goes down, and you beat the Rams. You beat arguably one of the best teams in the NFL, and you don't just beat them. You beat them by more than 7 points. Like, that wasn't a game where, it came down to it was a game where they won by more than 7 points. So I think for the Titans, and you guys hit it on the nail in the coffin, next man up, you bring in Adrian Peterson, and he just shows that he still has it. No matter how long he's laid off, no matter what system he's in, he's going to come in. It just shows how hard he works. And one thing I want to say too is, with the Tennessee Titans, they're playing really well on both sides of the football. In the beginning of the season, the defense was the biggest question mark was the defense, right? It was how are they going to generate a pass rush? Can they generate a pass rush? And when they lost to Arizona, and Arizona had the blueprint to really stop them by limiting Derrick Henry and making them one-dimensional and making them beat you with Ryan Tannehill, they only adjusted, and they went out and they won games, and they're continuing to play games. And I think the Titans have the blueprint to be successful. It's the mid-season. We still have a long season to go, but right now, they got to be one of the favorites to come out of the AFC just because of what they're doing on both sides of the football. And then look at who they beat. They didn't beat teams like Detroit or teams like, they beat some really good teams that are, you look at them like, how do they only allow Kansas City 3 points? Like, we can't forget that they basically shut Kansas City out, so it just limited them to a field goal. So I look at Tennessee as one of the teams that if they're on your schedule, you're circling them now. And you're not just looking at their record. You're looking at what they can do offensively and what they can do now defensively, and even on special teams. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Juan, what are your thoughts?
Just a quick question. Who's the other team that they lost to?
Yikes.
Now, hold on.
Darren.
Now, I will say this. If that brings a great point because they did lose to the Jets. But look who the teams they defeated.
Darren, final thoughts?
Yeah, so as you just said, look at the teams who they beat. They lost to the Cardinals, but they beat the Seahawks. They beat the Colts. They beat the Jags, who everyone's beat. But in a row, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Colts again, and then the Rams. All convincing games other than the Bills, which came down to a very close game, 34-31. And in the end, they still thugged it out. You gotta love what they've been able to do, man. You gotta love it.
It's definitely interesting to see. I actually would probably still have them at number 2, only because those Ravens, man, they just keep. You be like, what? How does Lamar keep doing this? How? He's insane. He is so good. I mean, if you want to, I agree that they may be a little too dependent on him. If you want to look at it that way, I think it may be the other way around. I think that he just makes mistakes early on and then has to, kind of come back in ways. or he starts slow and then has to come back in waves. But for me, like if they start fast, they're probably. I still think they might be the number one team in the AFC, and then the Titans a very, very, very close second. Darius, real quick, and then we're going to move it on.
The reason why I won't give the Ravens the number one, the reason why the Ravens aren't number one, is because the Titans have a better defense than them. The Ravens defense this year has never been this bad. Now the Ravens defense isn't like completely bad, but it's never been to the point where teams can come in to Baltimore, run up and down the field, pass the ball, shred them. I've never seen it like that. So for me, that's the reason that. And again, Lamar has to do a little bit more because his defense isn't bailing him out. I think the narrative really was before was the defense is helping Lamar. Now it's Lamar kind of has to help the defense. So I think in that aspect, the Titans have a better defense, and that's why I'm gonna give them that nod a little bit more than.
I'm just gonna say
it's the passing defense that has suffered the most for the Ravens, especially.
And the run defense.
The run defense has actually been stellar. They're only allowing 91 yards per game. They're top 5 against the run. Against the pass, again, 23rd overall.
That's not like them.
I'm going to say, listen.
The sacks department, they only have 15 sacks. There's only 15 sacks on this entire team.
We're going to end this here. I think that, again, the Ravens are also injured, so I'm not giving too much into that. So, that being said, since we're picking who the best teams are in the AFC and different things like that, we already know the best team in the NFC is the Atlanta Falcons. So, with that being said, we're going to go into our game picks.
Why is this podcast so like home team favorite?
This is the biased podcast.
This is the biased podcast.
We want to get into our game picks, ladies and gentlemen. And if you didn't know, I'm going to update you on the scores. Last week, all right, me and Darren went 9-5 in our game picks. Solid. Darius, under 500 at 6-8. And then Juan, pretty rough week for you there, guy. You went 4-10. With that being said, yes, that's correct. 4-10, ladies and gentlemen, bringing the overall records to in last place. Darius, come on, man, you got to pick it up. You're 78-57.
I'm still above 500.
You gained some ground on Juan, though, who is now 81-56, vaulting Darren into second place at 82-55, and your boy is in sole possession of first place. 86-51. We're looking good here, guys. But again, it's still a lot of time left in the season, a lot of comebacks, a lot of upsets we've seen, especially the last 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how this happens down the stretch of the season. I'm going to start with Darius. I need your game picks and your one explanation. Talk to us, sir.
All right, so the game tonight, Baltimore and Miami. I don't even know why this game is coming on. Tua's not playing. I think Lamar Jackson. This is probably one of the games, Darren, when you can make an argument Lamar Jackson can possibly throw for over 350 yards. Not 450, 300.
Before you give your game pick, I don't know if you made that graphic, Jerome, but that was dope.
But I'm going to go Baltimore. I think come on, it's Miami. Buffalo and the Jets. I feel like this is one of those weird games. It's like it could possibly be an upset. Like something's telling me the Jets might pull up the upset just because the Jags did it last week. But then again, Buffalo lost to the Jags. They might want to kind of go into the Jets and be like, we're going to smack you in the mouth. I'm going to do it. I got the Jets beating Buffalo. I think Buffalo gets upset back weeks. I think the Jets do it. I think the Jets do it.
What have you done with Darius? Liar!
I need them to lose.
I don't know you. I don't know you.
Listen, we need them to lose. We help each other. Tampa Bay, Washington. Tom Brady coming off a bye week. Those games, some guys help Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and Dallas. Ooh, this has a potential to be a game of the week, man. I just think Matt Ryan, he's playing pretty decent. Dallas, we saw what Denver did. I'm gonna take Dallas. I think it's gonna be really close. I'm gonna go Dallas. Saints, Titans. I'm gonna go with the Titans. Jacksonville, Indianapolis. Indy's playing really good. Jacksonville's got a huge win, but Indy's just starting to click on offense. So I'm gonna go Indy. Detroit, Pittsburgh. Another upset? No, come on, guys. Are we serious? Pittsburgh's playing really well. I'm taking Pittsburgh. Patriots, Browns. Really, guys? Patriots. Minnesota Chargers. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think getting a win last week in Philly, they got a little bit of confidence back. Arizona, Carolina. I don't know if Cam is playing in this game, but if this first game is against that Carolina defense, that's gonna be a tough game. I'm going Arizona. Denver, Philly, my game pick. I mean, my explanation game. Y'all know how much I love jinxing the Denver Broncos, right? Y'all know how much I love saying Denver Broncos is going to win the AFC West. This is the reason why. This is my game pick just because I think what Denver did last week, right? No one expected that. No one expected Denver to go into AT&T Stadium and just completely demolish Dallas the way that they did and hold Dak Prescott and that high-powered offense. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is playing really well, and they got a really good win. And I think giving Jerry Jeudy back was a huge boost for that Denver offense. Melvin Gordon is playing good. The backup tight end is playing good. So I think Denver is going to get a win. And I think this is going to be the game we see Jalen Hurts struggle really badly. This is going to be a game where we're going to see him make those mistakes, those forced passes, those interceptions. He's going to take unnecessary sacks. Just because I think Denver's defense, losing Von Miller, you're like, okay, they're supposed to really be bad, but they looked a little bit better without him. And they showed it really going up against probably one of the best offenses in the NFL. So I got Denver winning that game. Green Bay, Seattle, the biggest question is, are both quarterbacks going to play, right? Jordan Love played pretty decent, but I think in Lambeau Field, you got to take Green Bay. Kansas City, the Raiders. I'm going to hate myself for doing this. I'm betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm doing it. I think the Raiders finally, they get a win. And then the Rams and the 49ers. I'm doing it. 2 upsets this week. This is another upset game. 49ers win by a field goal. 49ers over the Rams. So those are my 2 upset games.
Wow. Chris, I think Patrick Surtain got hurt in the last game. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing this game coming up, but I would love to see Surtain versus Smith. That would be great. All right, I like it, Darius. All right,
He will miss multiple games with a knee sprain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, Darren, game picks. Let's get them.
All right. So I'm not even gonna have to discuss the first one. It's easy. Just look at it, people. It is what it is. And no Tua.
If you didn't know, Darren's picking the Dolphins to win.
Ravens, easy. After that, I got the Falcons over the Cowgirls. And this one for me is all because of the simple fact. I feel like Kyle Pitts is going to have a day. I feel like Kyle Pitts is going to have a day. They're going to worry too much about Russell Gage and Cordell Patterson. Kyle Pitts will have a day. I can see it now. Don't ask me how, just see it happening. Titans over the Saints next game. Colts over the Jags and after that. Browns over the Pats. Buddy.
It's okay if you're a hater. It's all right.
Buddy, come on now. It's okay 5-4. We'll do better later. Steelers over the Lions. And to answer our good friend Chris's question, the Lions will definitely win before Ben steps on the court. Come on now. Ben's not coming to step on the court anytime soon. Bucks versus the Washington team. Got to be the Bucks. Panthers versus the Cards. Cards. Sorry. Let me make that clear. Cards will win that game. Hands down. Especially if Kyler and Hopkins play. No need to even talk about it. Vikings and the Chargers. That one is going to be actually pretty close to me. That one is actually going to be a very interesting game. I'm going to keep my eye on. The Vikings have been playing very well. They might not have the record to back it up, but the defense and offense plays very well at times throughout the season, and so has the Chargers. That game will be interesting, and I see, honestly, almost a shootout. Either a defensive battle all the way through or a straight-up shootout. It's no in between for them. Eagles and the Broncos. honestly think the Broncos.
You didn't make a pick.
Oh, no. Vikings over the Chargers. Sorry, Vikings. Eagles and Broncos. I think that one's actually going to be a lot better than people expect. Broncos will probably pull that 2-0 for the last 2 weeks. I think they got it against the Eagles. I like what the Eagles did, but I'm sorry. Broncos.
Real quick to answer the question. Quick question tonight. I think you might. I think that it's a good start.
You start him.
I think it's a good start if he's in your flex. Here's why. Little known fact: he leads all rookie wide receivers in yards and targets, or not yards, yards and catches, I believe. So he's getting the ball. So I think it's a strong possibility, especially with the Ravens. Their secondary isn't extremely fast.
We'll put it like this.
So potentially a good start there.
You start him against our defense with Deshaun Elliott going on IR. Chuck Clark is now our free safety. He was not one of the faster guys. Anthony Averett, who has been a pretty solid corner, is showing that he's still getting beat. And we already know about Marlon Humphrey having a definite offseason this year. You start him against our pass defense.
Continue.
Packers over the Hawks, real simple. Rams over the 49ers, got that one in the bag. But this is the game of the week for me. Chiefs versus Raiders, what I want to talk about. Raiders.
Now you talked about 3 of them.
Sorry. Chiefs and the Raiders, who now are really going to be crazy great. Chiefs coming up. Last two games, they had 2 straight back-to-back wins. They're starting to come alive finally. I like the Chiefs over the Raiders because of the simple fact I don't think Deshaun Jackson is going to be what Henry Ruggs to that team was. They have been off since that happened, and they were losing to the Giants of all teams, who have not been well at all this year. Sorry, I don't trust it, even though the Raiders are number 2 in the division. Big time division matchup. Number 1 ticket sales. Chiefs.
All right. Okay, I like it. Juan, game picks, one explanation.
Y'all took all my time, so now I gotta rush through. Let's see.
Go through. Take your time, but with some haste as well.
Hashtag unzip the hoodie. Of course, we're going with the Baltimore Ravens tonight.
Unzip the hoodie. Hashtag unzip the hoodie.
If anyone taking Miami is a fool, honestly. Dallas and Atlanta, I will take the Dallas Cowboys. Tennessee hosting New Orleans, I will take the Titans. Colts and Jaguars, I'll take the Colts. Cleveland and New England, I will take Cleveland so long as McCorkle doesn't start pulling legs again. Let's see. Buffalo and New York. Darius got me on the hype train, so I guess I'll join it too.
There you go. Upset alert.
I'll take the Jets over Buffalo. Pittsburgh at Detroit. Pittsburgh. That one comment about who's going to get the Lions win or Ben Simmons starting or coming in for a game. Lions will get the win. It just will not come against Pittsburgh. Tampa and Washington, I'll take Tampa. Carolina and Arizona, I'll take Arizona. Minnesota at Los Angeles Chargers, I will take the Chargers. Philadelphia at Denver, I'll take Denver. Kansas City in Las Vegas, I'll take the Raiders on that one. And the Rams visiting San Francisco, I will take the Rams. Now, game I want to talk about, I'm going to be a homer, is the Seattle at Green Bay game. Now, this game is purely hinged on the fact on whether or not Aaron Rodgers is coming back on the field. Now, he was out for 10 days after he was diagnosed with COVID-19, which, we've talked about that at length last week, and more reports have come out about how, much of a mislead he actually had in the media, and how everyone's just pissed at him for basically lying. I don't think it was as much of a lie, more as like it was an omission. He just did not like immunized versus vaccinated. So like one and the same, but you try to make it seem like they're totally different. And your expert is Joe Rogan. Shut the hell up. With that being said, Green Bay has arguably a top 10 defense in this league. All right. The unit has stepped up to what it used to be in past years. All right. Rashawn Gary finally stepping up as a pass rusher. The DBs have been decent, even though Jair Alexander has been out of the starting lineup. Kevin King is still horrid, but Stokes has stepped up in terms of being a number 2, a defensive back. And honestly, Seattle, with what they have going on right now, even with Geno Smith trying, even with Geno Smith playing, they have been decent offensively. Defense, they're still a mess. Jamal Adams has taken a step back as a safety and as a box safety, especially. He hasn't been making as many big plays as he was last year.
He's not a safety.
Well, you line up when if you have the S on your name when you're on the roster, you are what you are. There's no such thing as athlete in the NFL. Anyway,
yes, there is. His name is Cordero Patterson.
I'll finish with this because I talked too long. Green Bay over Seattle. If Aaron Rodgers plays, if Jordan Love gets a start, it's Seattle. But my official pick is Green Bay.
All right. I was going to say, got to give me a pick here. All right. So I'm going to go through mine here, and then we're going to get these hot takes and go ahead and jump off. Tonight's game, Ravens at Dolphins, going to be a closer game than people think. Why? Because the primetime games have just been that way. It's not because I think that the Dolphins can hang with the Ravens. The primetime games have just been crazy. So I'm going to give the Ravens the win in a close one. Falcons versus Cowboys. Quick stat. Okay, this is going to be my explain game. I'm going to get it out the way really quick, okay? I want to talk about a guy that is going under the radar, and I'm not exactly sure why. And his name is A.J. Terrell. A.J. Terrell in coverage this season has been the best man corner in the entire NFL. This is not me being a homer or biased. This is actual facts. These are stats. Deontay is correct. He's never been a safety. He's a linebacker. Week 1, A.J. Terrell, 3 catches, 30 yards. Week 2, 0 catches. Week 4, 1 catch, 2 yards. Week 5, 2 catches, 10 yards. Week 7, 3 catches, 14 yards. Week 8, 2 catches, -1 yard. Week 9, 2 catches, 19 yards. They called it a touchdown on him, but it wasn't because he was in cover 2. A.J. Terrell has been showing up that he may be a number 1 top-tier lockdown corner in this league. We saw it on display last week against the Saints. Anytime they threw the ball near him, he was getting busy. I love it. It's beautiful. With that being said, I'm not sure what's going on with the Cowboys after losing the way they did to the Broncos. I'm not thinking our defense is as good as the Broncos, but I'm not picking against my guys right now. I'm going with the Falcons. All right. Saints versus the Titans. We just talked about how the Titans are just killing it right now. Well, I need to know what you need. I need to know what you think, Jerome. I need to know. I need you to pop on here if you got something to say. What's up? Titans over the Saints. Colts versus the Jaguars. The Jags got a really weird win, but I'm going with the Colts there. Oh, Darius, you just out here playing Madden on us like that? Like, I joke, I kid. All right, Browns versus the Patriots is actually going to be a very, very good game. I'm almost inclined. That's tough. There's a war back.
Go ahead, jump on the Browns bandwagon. Go ahead.
Listen, I mean, he getting picks and stuff, pick sixes. But the Patriots, they looking all right, man.
Go ahead. Go be like Darren and Juan. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Browns, though, because I'm not sure. Honestly, here's the reason I'm going with the Browns. I haven't seen enough Patriots on TV, so I don't know the film. I've seen the Browns, so that's the reason I'll go with it. Not to say that I think the Patriots are slouches, but they're, Browns. Bills versus the Jets. Bills. Lions versus the Steelers. Are the Lions going to win a game? So I'm going to go with the Steelers. Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. Let's not forget what happened in the playoffs last year. So, but I'm going to go with the Buccaneers coming off a bye week. Panthers versus the Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Vikings versus the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Eagles versus the Broncos. I will take. Ooh, that's tough. But I actually think, okay, my head is telling me the Eagles are going to win. My heart is telling me it's the Broncos. I'm going to go with the Broncos over the Eagles. Seahawks versus the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers plays, it's going to be, Russell Wilson probably going to be back too. I'll go with the Packers because their defense has really stepped up. Chiefs versus the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. And Monday Night Football, Rams versus the 49ers. Well, I hope Odell plays. But I'm going with the Rams over the 49ers. Those are the game picks. Let's jump into Hot Take Thursday. Let's get on out of here. It's been a long show, ladies and gents. Long show. But again, a lot of stuff happened in the NFL today. So, listen, we had to get it out. We had to talk. We had to talk about it, you know. All right, so I'm going to start with Juan. Give me your hot takes.
Mike White throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right, that's it. Drop the mic. Darius, hot takes.
Juan, it's funny because my hot take originally was going to be that the Jets and Bills was going to be the highest scoring game this week. But I'm going to go with today's game. I think Jalen Waddle torches Baltimore's secondary. He puts up 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Even though the Ravens get a win, I think he tortures that Ravens defense because literally he's having an underrated rookie season. Outside of Jamar Chase, he's probably like the next guy that's, in that rookie class that's having a really good season, that's putting up numbers on a consistent basis. So I think he's going to go out there and really just, you're going to see him. You're going to see him in a lot of highlights on ESPN after that game is over. And that's because he's going to have probably a breakout game. So 150 yards, 2 TDs.
All right. Darren, hot takes.
Real quick, the slander, I don't appreciate it, but it's cool though because my hot take was along with it. Vikings and the Chargers are going to have the highest scoring game. It will be over 90 points. 90 points scored.
90 points?
90 points between the two teams.
Woo.
48-45 game.
That's a hot take.
With the Vikings win.
Woo. Okay.
First. Second.
This is your last one.
Oh, I know. and this is the one I actually want. I want people to hear. Browns win by 21 points. Patriots only scored 3.
The pettiness continues, and I love it.
Hashtag stop the pettiness.
I love it.
Hashtag stop 21.
My hot takes are as follows. They're complete contradictions to my game picks, and that's why they're hot takes. I'm actually going against my game picks. I'm not changing my game picks, but I'm just giving you my hot takes. My hot take. The Lions get a win over the Steelers this week. They beat the Steelers this week. The Lions do it. Okay? And my other hot take, even though I picked the Steelers, my other hot take, even though I picked the Falcons, the Cowboys are going to beat them by 30. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, watch it. Watch it. 2 hot takes for the price of 1. I'm dropping it on you like that right there. You know what it is. This has been the Air It Out Podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all of your social media platforms. That's Facebook at Inside the Hashes. That's Instagram at Inside the Hashes. That's Twitter at Inside Hashes. And don't forget to check out the website, www.insidethehashes.com. Check out all the blogs, the podcasts, the fantasy football, everything. We got everything. We are the apex of football. Put on that notification button on YouTube so you can get notified when we go live. We love seeing your comments and interacting with you guys. Thank you for everybody who jumped on today. We appreciate it. We truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you for jumping in. Shout out to my dad. Woo-hoo! Shout out, Pops. All right, listen. Air It Out Podcast for Juan, for Darren, and for Darius. I am Avery. Air It Out Podcast is over and out. Matt Ryan for president, and Matt Ryan, stop patting the football. We can see you throwing it every single time. Stop patting the football. You gotta stop doing it, Matt. Just let the ball go.